Good afternoon and welcome to the news update at 12 and Dominion Television, Ibadan. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. President Bola Tinubu has directed the transfer of oil liquid funds recovered by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and unclaimed dividends worth about 242 billion naira to the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, to strengthen its finances. The Minister of Education, Tuji Alausa, disclosed this after Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja. He said the directive covered only cleared cash recoveries and excluded seized properties and funds subject to legal dispute. He added that the Securities and Exchange Commission puts the value of unclaimed dividends at about 242 billion naira, while NELFund had so far benefited over 1.2 million students. The minister said Tinubu also directed the Attorney General of the Federation, Finance Ministry, Education Ministry and Debt Management Office to work out the legal process for transferring the funds to NELFund. Meanwhile, the federal government has reviewed how 15.8 trillion naira saved from petrol subsidy removal and foreign exchange reforms has helped stabilize Nigeria's economy and strengthen state finances. Minister of Finance Taiwo Oyedele disclosed this during the government's three-year economic reform scorecard presentation in Abuja, where he said state and local government received 10.4 trillion naira, while the federal government got 5.4 trillion naira from the savings. He said the government spent 30.64 trillion naira on wages, debt servicing and infrastructure, including 9.39 trillion naira on workers' wages and allowances, 9.37 trillion naira on external debt and 6.5 trillion naira on infrastructure. However, Oyedele admitted that Nigerians were still facing challenges, particularly high food prices and household pressures, assuring that the next phase of the reforms would focus on translating economic gains into direct benefits through expanded cash transfers, agricultural interventions and measures to reduce inflation. In another development, President Bola Tinubu has ordered a comprehensive forensic investigation into the fictitious Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council and all those suspected fake agencies within the federal government. The Minister of Finance, Taiwo Oyedele, disclosed this after Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, stating that the probe would examine administrative processes, accounting systems and internal controls that allow the fake agencies to operate, adding that the review would extend to the integrated personnel and payroll information system to uncover possible fake employees. Meanwhile, Minister of Information Mohammed Idris said the ICPC had identified at least 2 additional fake agencies, while Tinubu directed the Attorney General and Finance Minister to engage professional auditors for a forensic evaluation aimed at preventing a recurrence. The Department of State Services, DSS, has arrested a man, Farawa Mai, for allegedly impersonating its personnel and extorting motorists in Abuja. DSS officers arrested Mai around Naito Junction in Wuse following credible intelligence while he was allegedly wearing a DSS tactical uniform and carrying a fake pistol. A security source said Mai claimed the uniform belonged to his late brother, who was a DSS personnel and is now being interrogated as the DSS investigate the alleged impersonation and extortion. A total of 146 presidential and governorship candidates in the 2027 elections could collectively spend up to 571 billion naira on campaigns under the Electoral Act 2026. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says it has the statutory responsibility to monitor campaign finances, with anti-graft agencies expected to assist. It said the law puts spending at 10 billion naira for each presidential candidate and 3 billion naira for each governorship candidate, while limiting individual donations to 500 million naira per candidate. The 19 presidential candidates have a combined ceiling of 190 billion naira, while the 127 governorship candidates could spend up to 381 billion naira, adding that candidates who knowingly exceed the limit face a fine of up to 12 months in prison or both. On the foreign scene, Liberian authorities have charged former Vice President Howard Taylor with drug trafficking, money laundering and criminal conspiracy following an investigation into an alleged transnational narcotics network. Howard Taylor, who served as vice president from 2018 to 2024, was intercepted by security officials at Roberts International Airport while attempting to leave the country and taken to police headquarters for questioning. The Ministry of Justice stated that Howard Taylor faces multiple charges, including the unlicensed importation, distribution and transportation of controlled substances. The high-profile arrest comes amid an aggressive multi-agency push by President Joseph Boaky's administration to dismantle drug trafficking networks operating through Liberia. At least 13 people were killed and 40 injured overnight after Russian strikes battered Ukrainian capital infrastructure, 18 residential apartment blocks, warehouses, a school and a children's hospital. President Volodymyr Zelensky and local leaders directly attributed the civilian casualties to a severe shortage of Western-supplied air defense missiles, particularly American-made Patriot interceptors. Russian defense officials, on their part, said the strikes used land, air and sea-based weapons to target military facilities and supply hubs. However, Ukrainian leaders stressed that without replenishing their interceptor stockpiles, Russia will continue to exploit these defense gaps, risking more lives and hindering long-term peace efforts. The Israeli military has announced it will open criminal investigations into the death of 5-year-old Ain Rajab and the family, as well as the separate killings of 15 Palestinian paramedics in Gaza. The military clarified that while these two high-profile cases will face criminal oversight, it will not pursue criminal inquiries into other deadly incidents, including attacks that killed 8 workers from Doctors Without Borders and World Central Kitchen. Simultaneously, a tit-for-tat diplomatic feud between France and Iran has escalated, with the French Foreign Ministry announcing the expulsion of 2 Iranian diplomats in Paris, following Iran's expulsion of 2 French diplomats earlier in the week. French officials cited a premeditated attack and brief detention of their diplomatic staff by Iranian security forces in Tehran, while Iranian authorities claim the diplomats were involved in covert meetings that interfered with domestic security. Talking sport, Coventry City manager Frank Lampard has expressed strong confidence in new signing Taiwo Awoniyi, backing the Nigerian international to make a major impact at the CBS Arena. Lampard praised the 29-year-old striker's physical presence and proven top-flight pedigree, noting that he always viewed Awoniyi as a serious goal-scoring threat when managing against him. The Coventry board emphasized that the forward's strength, work rate and experience will be vital asset as the club prepares for the rigorous challenges of Premier League football. The move signals a fresh chapter for the Super Eagles striker, who aims to establish himself as a focal point for Lampard's side in the top tier. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. And that ends the news update on Dominion Television Ibadan. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun saying thank you for watching and good afternoon.